Meat Shield closes one hand around Bong and starts crushing him. A summon should obey its master, yet Bong's own power turns against him. John Corsack stands nearby, but he isn't the immediate danger. Bong must control his summons if he wants to survive using them. Meet Bong Ju-hyuk. 25, broke and buried under loan shark debt. He's a coward who can barely stammer "I awakened" when the system finally picks him, and he never intends to fight a thing. His whole plan is to hide behind absurdly strong, perfectly obedient summons, let them clear the apocalyptic tower, and quietly become its secret record holder. A blow lands mid-struggle, and the figure walks off carrying a black bag. He slips into a nearby building without anyone noticing. And Bong is a 25-year-old who sees little hope in his future. He eats instant noodles alone and admits, "I don't have a bright future ahead of me." Trapped by his circumstances, he can only face how bleak his life has become. Bong calls his life painfully mediocre, so the system fires up and announces an awakening. Our boy launches his noodles in shock, only to learn it picked another player. Even Destiny dialed the wrong number. Then Bong warns that loot means nothing if you die getting it, while monsters crush him and the floors freeze, burn, and poison him for variety. After surviving the deadliest tutorial imaginable, our boy drinks the poison and declares, "Now it's my turn to get strong." Sure, buddy. Bong stays alive by avoiding danger before it reaches him, and he pretends to answer a call instead of confronting two men. He also keeps away from construction sites, and in his mind, that caution has kept an ordinary man alive for 25 years. Bong's hand spits out a portal, confirming the nightmare is real. His trait is summon. Other awakened players get swords, spears, shields, bows, or fists, while our boy can call spirits, phantom beasts, golems, and magic beasts. Naturally, he's already wondering what type he pulled. So Bong wonders what he can summon, rushes to test it, throws a hand sign, then remembers abilities only work in dungeons. Bro started tutorial at home. Player powers are disabled outside the dungeon, with one loophole, the status window. Bong knows that from an internet search, so why check the door like debt collectors spawned? Bong spots something wrong. The status window suddenly activates outside the dungeon anyway. Then energy bursts by the doorway, making a small creature yelp. Great, the rule's already filed for bankruptcy. And John Corsack drops in like he owns reality, while Bong sweats. Why is this working? Corsack calmly takes a drag and confirms the obvious. This is no normal accident. The skirt catches a strange smell while Bong's summon menu ranks pulls from bargain bin to jackpot. Then the system says every summon follows a fixed obedience code, and our boy's like, rules? Bro pulled a killer who actually takes orders. John Corsack was his assassin guild's black sheep, with a disgusting 99% success rate, even deleting a 5th circle black mage. But before Bong can learn how this menace finally fell, the entire biography crashes into his skull at once. The summon's whole life story just body slammed his brain. Then the memories drag Bro into John Corsack's final mission. He watches the assassin approach another target without showing any fear or doubt. Then John Corsack drops onto a group of armed enemies and attacks with twin blades. He cuts them all down. Afterward, he ties his signature red ribbon around a captive's head. A hooded witness watches the ritual and looks disturbed. The hooded witness can't understand why John Corsack calls the red ribbon a gift. Corsack remains pleased with his signature ritual, and that habit becomes part of the final mission, leading to his downfall. So the assassin's target lies helpless in bed, so John Corsack drops in and slices first. Questions never. He checks the result without blinking, and now we're diving straight into this lethal bastard's past. John Corsack's final memory finally shows the mansion attack's result. An unknown giant swordsman cuts him down with a huge blade. Our hero feels Corsack's fatal pain firsthand. When the memory ends, the assassin is still standing beside him as his summon. Now Bong reminds himself that summons must obey their summoner completely. Still, he wants proof. He orders John Corsack to store the ramen pot and wipe the table. Corsack completes both chores without complaint, confirming that he must follow Bong's commands. And John Corsack says, like a dog under his breath after cleaning. Bong worries he pushed too far, even though the summon must obey him. Before Dude can respond, men pound on the door and demand entry. His creditors have arrived. Bong owes them 10 million won from a private loan. Banks rejected him, but his father needed surgery after fracturing his hip on ice. Minhyuk's tuition was also due. Our boy expected to repay everything quickly. Instead, over 5 million won in interest hasn't reduced the principal. So, the creditors use that unpaid principal to keep Bong under their control. They make clear that paying interest alone won't satisfy them. Then when Bong can't pay, the loan shark boss tells him to sell an organ. A collector brings up Minhyuk. The boss agrees they can target him instead. Bong's debt is a threat against his younger brother. The boss takes Bong's silence as defiance and threatens to make him disappear. That brings John Corsack into the room. Bro realizes his summon has stepped in to protect him. Now John Corsack offers to decapitate the collector who threatened Bong. The guy panics because Corsack sees any threat against his master or family as grounds for execution. So Bong refuses to let John Corsack handle this through murder, and he takes responsibility for dealing with the danger himself. Later, Bong wonders whether John Corsack has already been dismissed. So, the 6-hour manifestation period ends while Bro is half asleep. The system confirms John Corsac's dismissal, and Bong thinks the immediate danger has passed. Breaking news suddenly wakes him. Bong brushes his teeth while the news reports 3 decapitated victims. His toothbrush hits the floor when they mention red ribbons. Our boy freezes, repeating both clues. He knows exactly whose calling card that is. And turns out, John Corsac calmly ties his signature red ribbons to the victims after leaving Bong's home. Bong realizes dismissing him didn't undo the killings. It also doesn't remove the risk of being connected to them. Bong tears at his hair, yelling, "Comforting my ass." Then a February murder report surfaces. One masked man rests his hand in blood, while 3 others stare down, terrified. But the surviving men realize they're finished, and Bong reaches that same conclusion. John Corsac left his red ribbon signature again. That evidence could expose Bong's connection to the assassin. Then, under the holiday decorations, Bong imagines John Corsac presenting bow-wrapped, severed heads. The clerk snaps him back, apologizes, and rings him up. Outside, the skirt laughs about taking a break, while Bong trails behind, rattled. Outside, Bong walks through the snowy city with the skirt as a hooded observer watches them. He eventually returns to his apartment alone and checks the system. John Corsac's actions are still weighing on him. Bong can't ignore the murders, so he summons John Corsac again despite his fear. John Corsac appears immediately and greets him with loyalty. "It's a pleasure to see you again." Then Bro carefully asks whether John Corsac killed yesterday's 3 visitors. John Corsac reacts in a way that unsettles him even more. Bong waits for a clear answer about the murders. Bong reaches toward the armored figure, telling himself to calm down because the man won't hurt him. Then Roadmap Face demands how Bong found the secret office and gets blasted from above mid-interrogation. So much for the secret hideout. The masked figure offers to erase every target early, but Bong snaps that he never ordered a damn hit. Bong immediately starts working Article 3's loopholes, and the listening man's fist tightens. So Bong apologizes. The nervous man waves it off like he hears worse daily, but Bong is already sweating through a hypothetical. If he walks with John Corsac and bumps some gangster, does the assassin start deleting pedestrians? Now the hypothetical man threatens to gouge out Bong's eyes, though it's only intimidation. John Corsac would treat those words as real and kill him. Even a normal confrontation could become another red ribbon murder. The guy still can't shake John Corsac's obsession with red ribbon killings. John Corsac apologizes for making Bong doubt him. Still, Bong knows every command must be painfully precise. And Bong remembers the wolf-like beast nearly turning him into lunch, and he's already thinking, I could actually die here. Now a stranger in black stands beside him, starting a warning. While our boy sweats through the briefing, Bong admits he's a coward, and John Corsac strongly approves. He declares being brave is poison. Brave summoners are dangerous. Bong's cowardice is exactly why John Corsac trusts him. And soon after, this guy learns his mother has been fired, and their family finances are already strained, but he hides his worry. Bong promises to visit for a meal, and tells her not to overwork. Then after the call, Bong takes construction work because his family needs money. The job quickly turns dangerous. A construction worker warns Bro before he can defend himself with a bat. Bong asks for another summon, but the system locks his reroll for 28 days. Before our boy can complain, John Corsac steps through the portal, thanks Summoner Bong, then laughs about that cancellation request. The reroll he wanted came back holding a sword. The construction crew celebrates after finishing the task. Their success activates a portal. It drags Bong into a digital passage. He can't escape. So the worker screams through the vortex until the hooded man hauls him up. He checks the cracked wasteland. He realizes they're inside the Black Tower. So much for a quiet construction gig. The armored swordsman slams Bong down and tells him he'll get used to it, then orders him beyond the safe zone. Our boy follows, dusts himself off, and gets notified his traits and combat skills finally work. Worms start writhing out of the wasteland, but Bong walks straight toward them. The masked warrior follows and asks why he insists on suffering like this. Even the hired killer thinks he's overdoing it. And Bong can't face the giant monster unarmed, so he plans to borrow John Corsac's weapon. Before he can ask, the monster lunges with its jaws open. Dude throws up his arms, Dude blocks the attack. But Bong survives the first attack. Bong forces himself through the pain. He has nowhere left to retreat. He grabs a weapon, he charges straight at the monster. The guy warns the monster to back off and keeps charging. His next strike explodes through the nearby debris, clearing a path ahead. Then the punching bag crosses his arms and fires an icy shockwave, shredding the armored burrowers mid-charge. Then the cloaked figure strolls through the wreckage like cleanup is beneath his pay grade. Bong confronts Park Hyun-soo, completely unaware why this meeting matters. Then Lee Min-ah's portal suddenly activates, snapping her attention over. Across town, the skirt freezes mid-workout while a red-shirted man checks the same alert over his drink. Everyone got the alert except the man who triggered it. At this moment, the nobody, the skirt, and a young man all get the alert. 5 minutes later, a construction worker checks his phone and starts sweating, and his own alert reaches him dead last. So a hooded man laughs at Bong's surprise, because our boy has never handled a magic stone before. The crystal is industrial gold, and after 20 years of tower chaos, player videos, conquest guides, and stone prices are everyday content. Bong pockets 50,000 won after 3 minutes of work and immediately clocks out for TV, because to Bong, Apocalypse labor is just another shift to clock out of. Elsewhere, John Corsack attacks the free meal, thanks Bong between bites, and insists the job is completely safe. No, Bong can't quit his construction job yet. His family still needs money. He keeps taking shifts. The schedule will be rough, but he decides to handle both jobs. So Bong clocks out, cooks, sleeps, then spends every spare minute clearing floors with John Corsack. Corsack gets another pathetic 5 points. Corsack acts personally insulted, but explains higher ratings unlock better perks. Bong's already doing the math. Suffer now, farm benefits later. Bong enters the Black Tower's 2nd floor and nearly jumps out of his skin beside an armored man. The mission demands 10 fat grubs within 2 hours, with death for failure. A landslide tears through the terrain, so much for easing in. Bong asks what he's supposed to do, but the fight is already over. He doesn't get to contribute at all. With the danger gone, he celebrates and calls for beer. And John Corsack clears the remaining targets so fast that they shatter before Bong can help. The clear raises Bong's level and rewards him with a magic stone worth 200 G. Dude can't believe how quickly the rewards are piling up. Bong catches another S emblem and crystal, asking if this tower is legally allowed to be so easy. John Corsack lands a beat late, then bursts the icy grubs apart and clears the 4th floor anyway. Even his mistakes come out overpowered. John Corsack destroys the 5th floor enemy and earns Bong another S clear. Collecting 5 platinum badges unlocks a special privilege. Bong can now summon 2 allies at once. John Corsack suggests climbing the 6th floor tomorrow. Then at the Awakened Management Agency in Seoul, Lee Min-ah sneaks beside Chun Gwang-il and asks about the announcement. Chun nearly jumps out of his chair, scolding her for ambushing people, while she calmly blames curiosity. Personal space regulations have officially collapsed. Bong blurts again, while Lee Min-ah and Park Hyung-soo watch. Another global announcement confirms one player cleared floors 1 through 5 at S rank. The next threat is already waiting. So Park Hyung-soo orders Chun Gwang-il and Lee Min-ah to identify that player immediately. 2 days later, their search starts leading them toward Bro. So Bong is washing dishes, bragging that 1 floor a day is basically effortless. Then he strolls into the 8th floor with his armored companion, where 10 Redthorn frog warriors burst out and swarm them. Bro went straight from household chores to pest control. A frog warrior launches its tongue attack, but John Corsack intercepts and carves through the whole airborne pack before Bong can contribute. The tower confirms the clear and bumps Bong's level. Our boy has once again outsourced heroism. John Corsack praises Bong for another successful day after the easy 8th floor clear. Bong admits he hasn't contributed anything. John Corsack still refuses to leave him. Bro focuses on cashing out their rewards. And John Corsack folds the man-eating corpse flower while Bong contributes his signature combat technique, standing safely elsewhere. The system boosts them for level 10 and unlocks their skills. They cross the barrier where a horse monster rears up ready to start trouble. Bong offers to fight beside John Corsack, but the assassin refuses. Letting this guy suffer 1 scratch would disgrace him. Bong insists they face the mission together. John Corsack agrees to protect him while they assess the enemy ahead. A giant mantis-like monster swings its claw at them, forcing both men to react. Before they can finish that fight, a second armored insect appears. This mission has multiple enemies. Then John Corsack blocks the attack and launches a rapid chain of slashes. He tears the mantis-like monster apart before Bong can enter the fight. Then John Corsack defeats the remaining enemy without Bong's help. They earn another S clear. Dude receives another platinum badge. Back in the real world, Bong gets a bonus prompt asking what skill he wants. Before our boy can even process it, John Corsack picks Shadow Step for him. The summon now runs the combat, the farming, and Bong's life choices. So Bong tests Shadow Step and crosses the room almost instantly. With magic stones ready to sell, he nervously calls the Awakened Management Agency. He reports his awakening, he begins registration. Reporting his awakening takes more courage than Bro has shown in 25 years. Still, he must register to sell his magic stones legally. Lee Min-ah informs Chun Gwang-il about the applicant. Chun investigates personally because Bong may qualify for the elite team. Now Lee Min-ah and Chun Gwang-il arrive at Bong's cramped home. Our boy finishes cleaning before they enter, and he politely admits the place is small, then invites both officials inside for his assessment. And Lee Min-ah introduces herself as a section chief and fellow player, and she She invites Bong to ask her anything. Bong is already nervous. Their accidental collision makes him flinch, and Jun Guangil watches that defensive reaction closely. So Lee Min-ah calls Bong's nervous expression deceptive. Jun Guangil strikes him and demands honest answers. Bro submits immediately, proving his fear is real. Jun Guangil ends the deliberate test and apologizes for disrespecting player Bong. Now, ordinary humans gain immense power and skills inside the Black Tower. Those abilities don't work outside it. Players climb and fight for rewards, making every successful climber important to national survival. And when a country goes 6 months without clearing another floor, a collapse countdown begins. Clearing the next floor stops that countdown. Any long delay becomes a deadline against catastrophe. Each country has between 1 and 3 towers, and Korea has only 1 in Gangwon-do. A national Black Tower collapses when its deadline expires. Only 5,000 to 10,000 players exist nationwide, while Korea remains stalled at floor 65. The government promotes climbers as national heroes and urges awakened citizens to register. At Bong's home, the recruitment pitch focuses on publicity. That changes when the officials learn he reached floor 10. His progress matches the anonymous S record. Jun Guangil and Lee Min-ah have reason to suspect him. Then Lee Min-ah suspects Bong is the anonymous S player. She asks whether he's heard the global announcement. It divides climbers between the elite aid team and the general raid team. So general players choose their own schedules and climb freely. Elite players handle higher floors under the Awakening Management Bureau. They receive funding, equipment, and security, but they also face public scrutiny. Reporters could investigate Bong's private life, threatening the anonymity he wants. That attention could expose Bong's isolated private life. Even imagining reporters asking about his friends leaves him distressed. Bong apologizes to Jun Guangil. Bong refuses the attention tied to elite status. He chooses the general raid team instead. So Lee Min-ah asks Dude to reconsider, but he says his decision is final. Jun Guangil lets him remain a general player. Bong thanks him. However, Jun Guangil wants to verify Bong's ability through an immediate tower entry. He proceeds despite the safer profits available on the middle floors. Jun Guangil asks this guy to enter the tower immediately for one final check. The process can take 2 hours. Lee Min-ah tells him there's no pressure before starting the entry procedure. But Bong enters immediately. The activation confirms that verification has started, and Jun Guangil and Lee Min-ah watch closely. The result could reveal whether Bong is the player they've been seeking. And Lee Min-ah expects Bro to quit on floor 11. Jun Guangil prepares to record a forfeit if she's right again. Her predictions haven't missed yet. Bong still reaches Tunnel 1. Bong faces the waiting trial. Now, our hero summons John Corsac as the floor 11 mission begins. They must kill 100 tunnel-tail centipedes within 3 hours. Failure means death or forfeit. Bong panics over the creatures and the required number, while John Corsac welcomes the hunt. Bong orders John Corsac to clear floor 11 slowly and carefully. John Corsac agrees but immediately charges into the swarm. He cuts down several tunnel-tail centipedes before Bro can stop him. Then John Corsac's reckless pace pulls Bong straight into the battle. Our boy lands on a giant centipede's back. Another insect attacks and throws him backward. His attempt to avoid danger leaves him completely exposed. John Corsac sees a centipede closing in on Bong and intercepts it. He's furious that the creatures touched his master. John Corsac tears through them before Bong recovers from the throw. John Corsac's counterattack wipes out the nearby centipedes. However, his speed leaves Dude stranded among the remaining swarm. Bong can't keep up and orders him to slow down. Then the guy refuses to let John Corsac continue at that speed. The assassin restrains himself and apologizes. He still eliminates the remaining centipedes, clearing floor 11 and unlocking floor 12. Bong exits Korea's Black Tower. Now Lee Min-ah and John Guangil wait outside and time Bong's run. He returns after exactly 5 minutes, and that speed renews their suspicion that Bong is the anonymous S player. Now the system pulls Bro back into the tower before either official can question him. Lee Min-ah and Jin Guangil freeze when he vanishes, leaving their suspicions unanswered. So inside, Bong admits he didn't want to use this option. He still won't fight himself, so he summons John Corsac and leaves the battle to him. This guy points out the 2 opponents causing the problem. John Corsac takes that as permission to silence them and moves in for the kill. And Bong calls John Corsac's name as the assassin attacks. The impact terrifies him. He insists he never ordered John Corsac to take their heads. And Lee Min-ah and Jun Guangil keep calling Bong's name until he responds. They want to know he's listening after his sudden return from floor 11. Bong flinches and starts sweating, but he apologizes and says he's fine. The officials explain that another player cleared floor 11 during his 5-minute run. That overlap gives Bro an alibi, though it doesn't erase their suspicion. Jun Guangil accepts Bong's answer and hands him an elite team offer. It includes 12 billion won, real estate, VVIP treatment, security, and broad immunity privileges. Critics even question whether elite players would stand above the law. law. So Jun Guangil says the document contains every benefit the nation can provide. There is one condition. Bong struggles to process the offer while Jun Guangil prepares to explain it. Our hero hates attention because even small moments of recognition overwhelm him, and he retreats after entering the wrong shop. When a restaurant worker remembers his heavy drinking, Bong decides never to return, and he avoids any place where people might notice or remember him. The elite team offer brings exactly the attention Bong refuses to accept. He says he's content living quietly as an ordinary citizen. Jun Guangil notes that answer and weighs it against Bong's exceptional results. Then Jun Guangil asks whether they identified Dude correctly. Park Hyung-soo says the matching clear times rule out any mistake. Furious over Bong's refusal, he orders Jun Guangil to bring him into the elite team. Jun Guangil agrees, but Bong and John Corsac drop the act once they're alone. Our boy admits that pretending to be angry wears him out. Back inside the tower, they start a frozen floor mission. They must kill 20 ice icicle spear weasels, but Bong immediately struggles to move. John Corsac charges through the frozen floor and attacks the ice icicle spear weasels, but Bong orders him to slow down, but John Corsac keeps rushing ahead. Bro gets trapped between his attack and an enemy spear. He's in immediate danger, so Bong firmly orders John Corsac to finish the mission. They clear Korea's Black Tower 12th floor at rank S. The guy receives another platinum badge. Outside, Lee Min-ah hears about the clear, giving the officials another exceptional result to investigate. Back home, Bong dismisses his summon and tries to relax with some television. The skirt catches him immediately and demands to know why he thinks he can watch TV. Then Bong returns to Korea's Black Tower and enters the 13th floor. He must cross a hallway packed with arrows, fire, and blades. The traps overwhelm him, but he survives the passage. He clears the floor at rank S. And Bro also clears Korea's Black Tower 14th floor at rank S. He decides there's no point stopping after coming this far. The next day, he prepares to climb again. John Corsac thanks Bong for giving him a perfect score of 5 despite his disobedience. He pledges absolute loyalty. This guy tells him to clear floors comfortably instead of dragging things out. John Corsac agrees and they enter the 15th floor. Their mission is to defeat 20 goblin workers. The goblin workers search the forest with their weapons ready. John Corsac activates stealth and approaches without being detected. Bong stays hidden. Bong watches the skill work. Now Bong wonders whether he can learn stealth later. John Corsac kills the goblin workers so quickly that they never notice the attack. The floor is clear. Dude faces one last possible threat. That confrontation ends. He opens his tower inventory and counts his platinum badges. Now, collecting 15 platinum badges unlocks another privilege. The system places an energy shield kit inside Bong's tower exclusive inventory for future climbs. Then Bong activates the energy shield kit and protection covers his entire body. It absorbs incoming damage, giving him a safeguard against direct attacks. Satisfied, he celebrates and gets something to eat. And Jun Guangil and Lee Min-ah report that the S player hasn't moved for 15 days. Park Hyung-soo has found nothing and complains that such talent belongs to someone too timid to use it. Jun Guangil suddenly receives an urgent alert identifying our hero as the player they nearly dismissed. He realizes his mistake and admits, I almost criticized the main player without knowing it. So Jun Guangil orders his staff to sell Bong any equipment he wants at a dirt cheap price. Elsewhere, Bong asks John Corsac to stab him and test his new protection. John Corsac can't believe the request. Bro insists, but he forgets to activate the energy shield kit first. John Corsac's dagger pierces his abdomen, and Bong quickly treats the wound with a potion. So John Corsac blames his own arm and tries cutting it off. Bong stops him. After warning our boy never to repeat that mistake, John Corsac resumes hunting. Bong starts practicing Shadow Step in the forest. Now Bro activates Shadow Step and races through the forest. The sudden speed surprises him. He finally understands how the movement skill works. But the training separates Bong from his summons. A goblin bursts from the bushes and ambushes him. Alone with no summon nearby, Bong stops and braces for the attack. The goblin attacks, but the guy recovers and activates his shield before the strike lands. The energy shield kit absorbs the impact and protects him without his summons nearby. But Bong uses the opening. Bong lands a spinning kick, knocking the goblin back. John Corsac kills the fleeing goblin with a thrown blade and looks surprised by Bong's kick. John Corsac checks that dude isn't hurt, then scolds him for taking the risk. He asks, didn't I repeatedly tell you not to be too brave, Summoner Bong? Bong takes that warning seriously. He spends the next 2 weeks clearing floor 15 until he's comfortable using his skills. At the same time, those 2 weeks produce 22.5 kilograms of magic stones worth 11.25 million won. And this guy secures the hall and visits Jun Guangil at an official building. Jun welcomes him back as player Bong. Then Jun Guangil gives Bro a special discount. Bong passes the biometric check. He enters the official equipment equipment store. He inspects the premium weapons. While Bong hesitates over the choices, Jun confirms with a staff member that he's browsing without trouble. Then our hero completes the purchase and takes the adamant mace for 2 million won. He summons John Corsac, who answers with his usual loyalty, and prepares to help again. With John Corsac beside him, Bong starts a random summon. He nervously recites several prayers, hoping one improves the result. The ritual activates, but the new summon arrives with far more force than Bro expects. Now the summoning erupts between Bong and John Corsac, forcing them both backward. Bong realizes he can't control the ritual. Once the disturbance settles, a new summon stands there, but our boy can't identify him yet. The new summon tears through the ritual's boundary and forces his way into the room. He causes even more damage, while Bong waits to see what the random summon produced. Now, a huge tattooed man towers over Dude. Bong recoils from him. He can't tell whether the new arrival is human or a monster. The summon stays silent, leaving Bong unsure whether he can control him. And the new summon attacks immediately. John Corsac moves to contain him. Their blows shake the room, but the tattooed man barely reacts. He says, "Doesn't hurt, it tickles." Now, John Corsac raises his blade for another attack, but the guy stops him. Bong needs the fighting paused until he knows whether the new summon obeys him. Bro also stops the tattooed man's punch because one broken ceiling already costs too much. John Corsac warns that this summon is dangerously infamous and recommends killing him. That would block his return for 100 days, and Bong considers giving up on this random summon, then trying again next month. First, he questions the tattooed man, who remembers neither his name nor the tower. Bong checks his information, and unknown power suddenly activates. The power drags this guy into the new summon's memories, just as John Corsac's memories did. He finds himself in an unfamiliar part of the Great Plains. There, Bong learns the tattooed man admires butterflies and invites an attacking Great Plains giant wolf to play. His physical stats reach the highest tier. He restrains the beast with ease. He isn't very bright. Then turns out the summon can't even remember his own name. A false hero exploits that innocence and makes him shield the front line from an archbeast Hydra. So the summon endures the Hydra's breath and keeps tearing out its necks. His skin melts away, but he continues fighting without understanding the betrayal. The false hero mocks him for trusting so easily. When the Hydra's remains rise from the slime, Bro understands the name Meat Shield. The false hero reduced the betrayed barbarian to nothing more than that role, and Bong leaves the memory convinced Meat Shield deserves better. So back in the damaged room, Bong welcomes Meat Shield and asks about his identity. Meat Shield still can't remember his name. Our hero offers Barbarian or Meat Shield, but misunderstands the question and volunteers himself. Bong's answer leaves John Corsac and the new summon stunned. Still, they settle on Meat Shield as the barbarian's name. After checking his R rank, Bong accepts him and decides to test his combat strength. But Dude takes John Corsac and Meat Shield to floor 16. The two summons start arguing before the mission cuts them off. They must kill 30 goblin scouts within 5 hours. Failure means death or abandonment, so they begin hunting. And John Corsac warns Bong that the hidden scouts use poison needles. Right on cue, several needles fly toward Bong without warning. So John Corsac blocks the ambush and kills the scout targeting our boy. He keeps the poisoned weapon away from his master as the hunt begins. More goblin scouts attack Bong and John Corsac from hiding. Their arrows come from several directions, showing they prepared for the player's arrival. Then Bro orders Meat Shield to take the front. A stronger goblin emerges from the ambush, raising the danger beyond the ordinary scouts. Meat Shield answers with a powerful attack. Meat Shield scatters the nearby scouts. John Corsac follows immediately, cutting down every goblin that tries to escape. The attack briefly surprises Bong and John Corsac. Another heavy impact tears through the remaining goblins before they can regroup. Then a goblin archer keeps firing and blasts John Corsac through the air. Even so, Meat Shield strikes again and tears through their formation. Now Meat Shield follows Bong's order and crushes the remaining scouts in one sweep. Once the debris settles, Bong finally understands something. This strength makes no sense for an R-rank summon. The guy figures Meat Shield's combat power is at least SR, maybe even SSR. His low intelligence probably dragged the rating down to R. Afterward, Bong gives everyone fried chicken, and Meat Shield and John Corsac immediately argue over how to eat it. So Meat Shield promises his life for more chicken, which catches Bro off guard. Bong stops John Corsac from disturbing him during the meal. John Corsac apologizes. Once everyone settles down, they enter the Black Tower's 17th floor. Enhancement activates their traits and combat skills. Reaching level 17 makes Bong think he can finally fight for himself. His summons shut that idea down. They warn that confidence becomes dangerous near level 20 and insist on protecting him. And the floor mission orders them to defeat 30 goblin warriors. The entire horde starts moving toward them at once. This guy quickly realizes those strategy videos didn't prepare him to face this many enemies. and Bong's careful plan is to retreat and avoid drawing the whole horde. They can eliminate the goblin warriors 3 at a time. Meat Shield refuses the cautious roll. Meat Shield prepares to crush them with raw strength. Meat Shield charges straight through the goblin force and wipes them out in one assault. Bong's careful strategy becomes unnecessary. Since the fight is already decided, Bong asks what perk comes next. The surviving goblin warriors charge together in formation. Meat Shield meets them head on. Meat Shield breaks through their ranks. They never get close enough to surround Dude. So Bong calls Meat Shield back. Bong points him toward the survivors. Meat Shield answers his summoner. Meat Shield launches another crushing attack. The ground tears apart. The remaining resistance is finished. The goblin warriors make one final coordinated charge. Bong summons blast through their formation and send them flying. Bong remains untouched behind them. Our hero decides strategy only matters when both sides have similar strength. His summons completely overpower these enemies, so brute force ends the battle. He stays safely behind them the entire time. Now, Floor 18 tasks Bong with defeating 30 goblin assassins. He sends his tank summon ahead to hunt them. These goblins use stealth skills. Unlike the warriors below, they attack without revealing themselves. But the hidden assassins ambush Bong's tank summon again and again. Their attacks quickly leave Bro alarmed. His furious summon can't find them and demands they show themselves. Laughter echoes through the forest, confirming they still surround him unseen. So Bong answers their stealth with Shadow Step. He declares they can't match his own stealth and ambushes them in quick succession. The mission count reaches 730, leaving 23 targets. And meanwhile, one enemy reveals Bong has taken their bait. His attack has led him straight into a trap. Our boy activates a hidden ability through his armored gauntlet. Its concealed weapon deploys for his next attack. Bong counters the ambush with his concealed weapon and defeats 3 goblin assassins. The Floor 18 count rises from 730 to 1030. He finally gets a kill himself and proudly calls it his first successful hunt here. Then the remaining assassins continue attacking, but John Corsack intercepts the next threat. He unleashes a powerful strike before it can reach Bro. Then John Corsack finishes the threat before it reaches Bong. He drives the count from 1030 to 1830, then 2530. Only 5 targets remain. His counterattack nearly clears Floor 18. Now John Corsack dodges another heavy strike and cuts through the remaining assassins. Bong tries joining, but John Corsack orders him away because he'll interfere. The guy charges toward another target anyway, as an attack closes in. Bong's reckless charge exposes him to a goblin assassin's knife. The danger sharpens his awareness, and everything seems to slow around him. He reacts in time. He swings his mace instead of retreating. Now Bong's counterattack meets the incoming strike, sending both sides flying apart. That final clash ends the battle. He earns an S clear grade on Floor 18 of the Black Tower's Korean branch. So, the system confirms Bong's S result and awards him another platinum badge. Bong accepts it with satisfaction. His summons rush over and praise him for the victory. The Floor 18 result reaches Awakened Management, and Lee Min-ah can't believe it. The director demands an answer. The officials decide Dude needs gentler treatment than an ordinary elite team recruit. And meanwhile, breaking news announces that an unidentified player earned S on 18 consecutive floors. Bong's hidden record is now drawing public attention, and Bong asks John Corsack what concerns him. John Corsack says Bong is learning his summoning talent unusually fast. This guy proudly accepts the praise. John Corsack decides his master's growing confidence will eventually cause trouble. Meat Shield pins John Corsack down. Meat Shield mocks his complaints. John Corsack answers with a heavy strike and a flying kick. Their brawl wrecks the kitchen and nearly catches Bong in the destruction. But Bro cares more about his mother's spilled kimchi. He mourns, "Mom gave me that." The next morning, he leaves after facing the damage his summons caused at home. So Bong visits his hospitalized father while his mother tends to him. His father asks Bong to visit more often and insists he's fine. He tries moving. He collapses, revealing how serious his condition is. So Bong's family waits at dinner while Minhyuk goes out for tofu. They discuss their money problems. His mother promises to find work again. Our hero tests whether he should reveal that becoming awakened could support them. Then Bong's mother awkwardly claims she's only off work today, but the family questions her excuse. A Smile Cash murder case report reminds Bong that John Corsack's killings could expose him. He quickly redirects everyone toward his mother's job. The family recalls how Bong's timid father once courted his mother. They call the father. They both sons a family of weak men. Before Bro can reveal his awakened life, a remark outside the room startles him. Minhyuk stops Bong before he leaves. The missing allowances settle the matter. Bong needs steady income. He heads to Awaken Management to spend his tower earnings on better protection. But our boy knows his energy barrier won't stop a monster horde. He asks for a shield. The clerk recommends an adamantite sectonium buckler for 100 million won. The price stuns him, but it works with his mace. He buys it. Bong pays 100 million won for the adamantite sectonium buckler. Survival matters more than saving money. Still, he leaves thinking the shop staff are harder to handle than goblins. Outside Awakened Management, Choi Ho-suk recognizes Dude as a recently awakened player. He approaches and offers friendship. Choi Ho-suk introduces himself as another player and laughs warmly. Bong sees no reason to distrust him yet, so Bong accepts Choi Ho-suk's friendship and returns home. He summons John Corsack to test his new protection. John Corsack skips the discussion and attacks immediately, giving the guy a proper trial. Then Bong blocks John Corsack's strike with a new buckler. His survival rule hasn't changed. He'll stay cautious, quit when the tower becomes too dangerous, and sacrifice equipment before risking himself. John Corsack suddenly attacks again while Bro is eating. Bong drops any thought of fighting back. He puts everything into defending himself from the next strike. And John Corsack presses a gun against Bong's head. Bong recoils and protests immediately. Even with expensive protection, he still avoids danger instead of facing it. Bong's fear turns into anger, and he asks if John Corsack finds this funny. Soon, an armed intruder corners this guy inside his home, and the gunman sees an apparently defenseless player and chooses him as an easy target. Now John Corsack attacks before the gunman finishes threatening Bong and incapacitates him. The second intruder freezes when he sees John Corsack. John Corsack takes him down too, leaving Bro shaken in his kitchen. Then Bong thanks John Corsack for stopping the intruders and saving his life. Since Bong remains vulnerable outside the tower, Jun Guangil explains the elite team's protection benefits. They cover armed attacks, everything that follows. Meanwhile, the authorities remove the body while officials review Bong's recent equipment purchase. Jun Guangil reports that our hero bought a small buckler. Since Bong also carries a mace, they wrongly classify him as a melee fighter. So, the police player task force calls with an urgent update about the break-in. Officers arrive right away and arrest the actual offender. And Choi Ho-suk is restrained for home invasion and special robbery. And he tried framing Dude as the intruder. Choi Ho-suk claims Bong broke in, but Jun Guangil hits him before the accusation goes further. Jun Guangil recovers from the impact and confronts Choi Ho-suk directly. Choi Ho-suk identifies himself. Jun Guangil hits him hard enough to draw blood because his setup put Bong in serious danger. That accusation could label our boy a player killer and cancel his registration. A level 34 player has no reason to commit robbery. Jun Guangil rejects the claim and has Choi Ho-suk taken away as the real offender. So Jun Guangil orders Bong transferred to the NIS for allegedly attacking a player. Bro panics because the agency is notorious for torturing suspects in player-related cases. He imagines being treated as a repeat offender with nobody defending him. So Bong imagines himself handcuffed and dragged into an unknown detention facility, and Jun Guangil asks whether he knows its location. Bong says he doesn't and warns him not to search, stopping anyone from pursuing the facility. Now the guy summons Meat Shield, adding another powerful companion who can absorb every risk. With John Corsack and Meat Shield beside him, Bong enters Korea's Black Tower 19th floor, and they must defeat 30 goblin shamans armed with curses, binds, and weak fire arrows. Bro doesn't get a chance to act. Meat Shield charges straight into them. Meat Shield starts crushing the shamans with his fists. Meat Shield's punches send the goblin shamans flying. When they recover, he overwhelms them before Bong can fight. But John Corsack joins him and follows Bong's order to clear every enemy. They attack from opposite sides. They crush the remaining shamans. Then Bong prepares to claim one kill, but his summons finish them first. They deliberately keep him safe. This guy receives an S rank and another platinum badge without fighting. His solo kill count holds at a proud 0. The next day, the trio enters Korea's Black Tower 20th floor. Bong again relies on John Corsack and Meat Shield to handle the mission. John Corsack warns that every goblin type appears on the 20th floor. He orders Dude to stay safe while Meat Shield fights. They must defeat 100 goblins and 1 hobgoblin within 10 hours. John Corsack immediately blocks Bong from joining. Then Meat Shield takes the front line. Meat Shield draws every enemy toward himself. Goblin casters launch a powerful spell as armed warriors charge. John Corsack and Meat Shield cut them down before they reach Bong. Our hero refuses to remain a victim and cuts down a spectral enemy with dual blades. He declares, "You think I'll just sit back and take it again?" His counterattack sends a powerful energy strike through the forest. Bong barely avoids the incoming strike. Bong counters from above. His attack slams into the spear-wielding enemies. The blast tears through the group and leaves one surviving warrior stunned. So Bro can't believe his attack succeeds. The moment brings back why fighting matters to him. As a child, he's isolated while an adult takes his toy. The adult laughs at his distress. Now the bullying continues through elementary school and adolescence. Classmates publicly humiliate and hit Bong. Instead of enduring another attack, he drives his counterstrike into the woman. The impact leaves her reeling. John Corsack recognizes Bong and cries, "Summoner, our boy," confirming the fighter's identity. The spear wielder doesn't stop, so Bong blocks both spears and kicks the enemy away. Now, Bro dodges the incoming projectiles and closes in on the orc. His weapon strikes its head and leaves it critically wounded. He keeps attacking as another enemy falls behind him. John Corsack can't believe Bong masters Shadow Walker this quickly. He warns Bong about another attack. The guy survives it. Bong sees the destruction. Bong fears he pushed the new skill too far. And John Corsack keeps the enemies busy with his blades while Dude plans their escape. Bong orders him toward the cliff. John Corsack obeys immediately. They keep moving as the fight follows them. Then by the cliff, the long fight has nearly drained Bong's stamina. He admits he's close to exhaustion, but senses another attack coming. A giant enemy smashes through the projectiles and knocks Bong backward. So, the surrounding enemies keep attacking until a huge beast rises from the canyon. The soldiers panic. Its arrival triggers an explosive attack. This guy remains trapped beside the canyon with almost no stamina left. The large monster fires a blast that tears through the surrounding enemies. Two hooded casters start preparing another spell. John Corsac reaches them first and cuts through the remaining mob before they can stop him. So John Corsac kills the last wounded enemy and confirms they've defeated 100 goblins. The quota is complete. He warns Bong that the floor's boss should appear at any moment. The hobgoblin charges. Bro reluctantly stays behind Meat Shield. John Corsac attacks from above and orders Meat Shield to stop the boss head-on. Meat Shield meets the hobgoblin directly. Meat Shield blocks its sword with overwhelming force. The clash causes an explosive impact. John Corsac closes in for their coordinated attack. So John Corsac finishes the coordinated attack by driving both blades into the hobgoblin's head. The boss dies, clearing Korea's 20th floor. But Bong levels up. Bong receives a 2 kilograms mana stone. He also gets 5 tower exclusive healing potions, an S rating, a platinum badge. He thanks his summons for protecting him. Still, another record could bring attention he doesn't want. Limina asks Park Kyung-soo whether they should suppress the press coverage. He refuses and orders a quiet investigation into Bong's family instead. They learn his father is hospitalized and his mother is unemployed, and she was apparently fired unfairly from her water purifier job. And back home, Bong hides his summons when someone suddenly arrives. It's only a food delivery. Once the visitor leaves, everyone shares jjajangmyeon and fried dumplings in secret. Our hero notices the restaurant didn't include a single coupon. So Bong realizes those coupons wouldn't help him anyway. Ordering more food could expose his hidden summons. Once it's safe, he brings them out for the jjajangmyeon. Meat Shield gets his first taste and nearly pledges his life to the noodles. Then Bong's latest clear brings his total to 20 platinum badges. That triggers another milestone perk. He's surprised he already meets the requirement and waits for the system's reward. Then the 20 badge milestone gives Bro a random reward box. He checks mana stones, herbs, metals, weapons, and armor. The rune of level up is much more valuable. That makes him check the best possible prize. Bong finds an LSSR grade confirmation summon ticket. It guarantees an SR, SSR, or LSSR summon. He imagines an LSSR summon clearing every future floor. Bong could simply enjoy the journey while it handles every fight. Our boy opens the random reward box and promises to live as a saint. He only wants something useful. The system starts processing his milestone reward. Now Bong unlocks the ability to upgrade a summon's grade through R, SR, and SSR. He also obtains the skill Chaos Lightning Staff. Dude needs stronger ways to avoid direct combat, so this is exactly what he wanted. Bong tests the new Chaos Lightning Staff by activating Soul Chaser. The milestone reward gives him another attack that doesn't require physical combat. Elsewhere, John Corsac explains that irregular summoners don't need to fight directly. Bong also learns someone with the same trait summoned John Corsac in a parallel universe. So the guy realizes the enemies who defeated him are far too strong to face directly. He summons John Corsac and Meat Shield, trusting their obedient designation enough to reason with them. And John Corsac answers with a tired loyalty, while Meat Shield shows why obedience isn't safety. After they discuss offensive abilities, Meat Shield apologizes and prepares to use his strength against Bong. Meat Shield invokes Summon Principle number 3 and crushes Bro in his grip. His idea of loyalty keeps flattening the man it serves. John Corsac kicks him away and orders him to save that strength for the tower. And John Corsac assigns Meat Shield to protect Bong while he handles every kill. He asks Bong to trust him, and all three enter Korea's Black Tower on the 21st floor. Inside the tower, this guy learns forest orcs are strong but not intelligent. He requests 10 practice attempts before fighting them. John Corsac offers to endure Bong's full power attacks, but Bong refuses. So Bong's weapon activates, and John Corsac redirects his practice toward the approaching forest orcs. The mission requires them to defeat 30 forest orcs within 4 hours. Then the forest orcs attack. Bro sends both summons ahead of him. One charges first while the other follows. Their opening strike launches an orc through the air before it reaches Bong. Now Bong stays protected while his summons tear through the advancing enemies. They knock one aside, they cut down the others quickly. Their strength leaves our hero with no chance to practice. They even poach his warm-up swings. The surviving orc freezes after John Corsac attacks. Since Bong still wants practice, John Corsac steps back and leaves the next one to him. But dude rushes in and catches the orc off guard. He brings his weapon down hard, hoping to secure his first solo kill. Bong's Chaos Lightning Staff activates during the swing. He uses Soul Chaser, First Form, and lands directly on the orc's head. Bong celebrates finally landing his own attack, but he keeps going. Another blow hits the orc's head and deals more damage. So Bong finishes the wounded orc with one more crushing strike. After his first solo kill, he declares easy, way too easy. Then our boy charges the next orc and finishes it underfoot. More enemies approach and his confidence vanishes. He reminds John Corsac they agreed on one at a time. His summons defeat the rest and complete the 21st floor mission. Bong gains 1 level, 2.1 kg of mana stones, and 5 tower exclusive healing potions. Bong keeps farming. Bong finishes the last desert orc with a fiery punch. He clears Black Tower Korea's 22nd floor at S rank. The next day, he attacks a cave orc. Since his summons keep him safe, Bro decides to clear 1 floor daily. And Bong also clears Black Tower Korea's 24th floor at S rank. He skips the promised rest and immediately gives his summon another task. The sudden change leaves the summon startled. The guy gives his summon a valuable rank up stone. Stronger protection means safer clears, which is all Bong cares about. Pure min-max play, every point sunk into not dying. The summon accepts the gift and vows to protect him better after upgrading. Now the summon plans to leave immediately and return upgraded later that day. Bong asks why he's leaving so soon. Before they finish talking, television news begins covering a serious one-person protest. Then Bro starts worrying as the report explains why the water purifier coordinators are protesting, and they face unfair terminations, poor treatment, and company abuse. They're even forced to sort recycling after work. But there's more. One worker receives her termination notice and collapses in despair. People also mock a young protester supporting the workers, claiming she's wasting her time. She gets ready to answer them. The young protester answers a call expecting more abuse. Instead, a bespectacled man calmly introduces himself as an attorney. She stays suspicious until she realizes why he's calling, and her tone changes immediately. And she asks the attorney to calm down because she still thinks he's hostile. He hands over his business card instead. Park and Kim wants to file an official lawsuit against Jin Samul Corporation. The attorney explains that an official referred the workers' case to his firm. The lawsuit is part of their annual public service project, so it isn't a scam. She accepts, and reporters start recording detailed testimony about Jin Samul Corporation's treatment. At the same time, the coverage reveals how much Bong's mother has suffered during the protest. Bong realizes neither he nor Min Hyuk supported her, and he blames both of them for being unreliable sons. So John Corsack understands Bong's implied order and asks if he should visit Jin Samul Corporation. Bong's quiet response to his mother's mistreatment is already moving forward. So this guy learns Ilsung Hospital selected his father for a hip surgery rehabilitation project, and his hospitalization and treatment are free. His mother is receiving help, and Min Hyuk also gets a scholarship, and Bong starts wondering who arranged everything. Bong traces Min Hyuk's scholarship back to the Awakened Management Office. He meets Jun Gwang-il there. He demands to know why the office is supporting his family, and Jun Gwang-il admits he arranged the help because it was necessary, and Dude keeps pressing him for a clear answer. Jun says they'll settle the matter immediately, turning their meal into a direct confrontation. Jian Gwang-il offers Bong an elite team contract right there. Our hero refuses because he claims he lacks confidence and exceptional talent. Joining would bring more danger and scrutiny. But Jun Gwang-il bows and begs him to reconsider, saying Bong is more than qualified. Bong remembers the armed men tied to his secret life with John Corsack, and he pauses and weighs the contract against being exposed. Then Bro refuses at first because the elite contract requires filming. Cameras could expose everything he's hiding. Jun Gwang-il offers housing and support for Bong's family, and that changes his answer immediately. Bong signs despite Jun's warning that the terms might change. Now, our boy isn't sure what Jun Gwang-il's sudden offer will lead to. He asks for time to get advice before deciding anything else, and Jun agrees to wait. But something interrupts them, and Bong cries out in shock. John Corsack returns wearing armor. Bong tells him to change back. The display hurts his eyes. Once John Corsack looks normal again, Bro asks to discuss something privately before entering floor 25. Then John Corsack eagerly confirms that Bong's proposal can work. His explanation makes clear that it requires a dangerous confrontation before their next tower mission. John Corsack explains that Bong can't summon unranked existences yet. His skill might allow it eventually. For now, he advises accepting Jun Gwang-il's offer under one firm condition. Nobody outside can force the guy onto uncleared floors. So Bong demands sole authority over when he attempts higher floors. That keeps anyone from sending him in unprepared. He follows the earlier advice and requires firm guarantees before accepting state support. The system also registers Meat Shield as Bong's summon and confirms his absolute obedience, the same obedience that keeps crushing him by accident. So Meat Shield protests when Bong ignores him. John Corsack immediately forces the R-rank summon to submit and makes their level difference clear. Now they enter Black Tower Korea's 25th floor. They must kill 100 orcs and 1 orc grand boss within 10 hours. The orcs charge, and John Corsack suggests testing his SSR upgrade. Meat Shield pulls aggro with a crushing strike. John Corsack's first strike leaves the orc confused but still alive. He follows with rapid slashes, overwhelming it before it can recover. And the final slash kills the orc and gives Dude another level. An unseen archer immediately fires a volley toward a lone robed figure. The target's fate remains unclear. The arrows blast the robed figure backward across the ground. The attacking orc starts celebrating, but quickly senses another strike coming, and Bong catches the surrounding orcs off guard with surprise. He cuts through the group before any of them can recover. Then Bong's surprise attack leaves the orcs shaken, but one fights back. It raises its axe for a finishing blow. This guy stays he's ready to continue. So Bong activates Shadow Walker and moves before the armed group responds. He insists survival is enough because a summoner's safety fuels his power. Bong keeps attacking despite his rule about putting survival first. He wants enough strength to let everyone who cares about him rest. He channels power through his weapon. He releases one decisive burst. So Bro keeps pressing, dodges the enemy's knife, and spins into a kick. The impact disarms the enemy and drives it hard into the ground. It's briefly out of the fight. Bong follows with Chaos Lightning Staff, first form. Lightning covers the weapon as he strikes the enemy's head. The enemy still prepares to retaliate. The fight continues. Our hero faces the remaining monsters with his shield raised. He activates Shadow Walker and breaks through their attack. The skill closes the distance. Bong lands another explosive strike. The enemy can't stop him, so the counterattack slams into Bong's shield and throws both fighters backward. Bong holds firm as the clash sends out a sharp surge of power. But that breakthrough unlocks Chaos Lightning Staff, second form, Scattered Lightning. Bro channels it through his staff and fires a huge lightning attack. The lightning splits into 5 strands and electrocutes several orcs at once. Since it erupts inside the horde, one wounded enemy thinks an orc cast it. And meanwhile, John Corsack calls out to Bong and rushes toward the approaching danger. His sudden arrival scares our boy, who cowers and apologizes to his own summon, the secret record holder, terrified of his own bodyguard. Bong remembers an old grievance. Bong shouts that it still makes him angry. He tries charging ahead, but an orc warrior blocks his path. Then Bong raises his shield, surprised that the orc warrior confronts him already. The warrior swings its huge polearm down. Dude calls for John Corsack. John Corsack answers immediately and blocks the strike with his energy blade. Then the danger isn't over. A masked enemy tackles Bong through an explosion and leaves him unable to move. The guy realizes he ignored the warning and admits, "I should have listened from the start." Jun Guangil draws his sword and takes responsibility for the fight. Meat Shield promises to protect Bong, who stays hidden. Meat Shield attacks Roadmap Face, but the counterattack launches him away. He comes back swinging with an energy-charged punch. Meat Shield's empowered punch lands and releases a destructive shockwave. He gathers his remaining strength. He prepares another attack. The orc warrior finally senses the danger and freezes as Meat Shield closes in. Now explosive attacks hit the orc warrior from both sides. Despicable Ambush activates before it can recover, but Bong ends the exchange injured and exposed as a horned shadow beast threatens him. Bro survives the shadow beast's attack and drives in the final blade strike. The 25th floor mission clears. He levels up, collects 2.5 kg of mana stones, and leaves the Black Tower. So Bong now has 25 platinum badges, and the milestone unlocks a new perk, and he can choose an encore perk, though he has no idea what that means. So this guy picks the encore perk. The system enhances his awakening trait. The upgrade strengthens his summoning ability. He starts considering what it can do, and Bong realizes the enhancement could expand his party to 4 members. He pictures John Corsack joining them for Tteokbokki. He also considers a colder option. If John Corsack takes a fatal wound, Meat Shield could leave him behind. Bong could then summon a replacement. Bro finally tells his parents that he awakened and now works as a player. He can't keep hiding his occupation from them. His father compares it to a computer game, while his mother gets frustrated. A phone notification suddenly pulls Bong's attention away, and the next day, an official escort arrives and collects Bong in a limousine. Bystanders already know he awakened and call him a valuable national asset. Our hero can't believe his limited confession attracted public attention this quickly. The nation's quietest top climber, undone by a doorbell. At the Awakened Management Office, Bong receives an offer to become an elite player. The representative apologizes because regulations cap his starting salary at only 2 billion won. Bong, still crushed by debt, can barely process that number. Jun Guangil firmly says recruiting dude is his own decision, so Bong still hides that he's the S record holder. Even from his family, television, social media, or surveillance could expose them and put them in danger. His official player status still brings him to Seoul's largest penthouse. Then meanwhile, the penthouse belongs to Yu Chol-min, South Korea's rank 1 player. He celebrates there with several women. His high floor clears have earned him plenty of status, and he's enjoying every bit of it. Over drinks, one woman dismisses the anonymous 25th floor clear as unimpressive. Another reminds her that the S rating is a world first. She asks whether Yu Chol-min is curious about the Korean player behind it. Yu Chol-min turns on the woman and asks what happens if he stops clearing floor 66. The Black Tower could move from rural Gangwon-do to a major city. South Korea could be erased. His warning scares her silent. But Yu Chol-min admits the pressure is getting to him. Clearing floor 66 isn't getting any easier. The undead zone begins in the 60th floors, and specters appear on floor 66. Even South Korea's rank 1 player can't advance safely. The specter's dark aura is far stronger than anything anything ordinary undead can produce. Yu Chou-min uses resistance accessories, elixirs, and light attribute tower weapons. Even with all that, he barely survives floor 66 and still can't clear it. So Yu Chou-min stops considering naturalization and decides to pursue it. His reason is cold. If the Black Tower destroys South Korea after relocating, he'll already be gone. Meanwhile, our boy returns to the tower and attacks a monster himself. Meat Shield stays close enough to protect him throughout the fight. One supervised swing, closely chaperoned. Then Bong and Meat Shield celebrate the successful run with fried chicken and an idle performance. Meat Shield wants to keep moving and says, since we've started, let's push all the way to the 29th floor. John Corsack keeps eating while Jun Guangil arrives with Bong's requested equipment. He brings everything needed for the next tower run, including the Operations Red Pouch. Now Bong and John Corsack start hunting through the frozen mountains. The bitter cold leaves John Corsack unusually agitated. Bro decides movement and fighting should help, so he orders, start the hunt. The hunt ends with Bong clearing Korea's Black Tower 27th floor at S rank. He earns another platinum badge. He receives the legendary Holy Sword of the Paladin Commander. One problem, the blade is badly rusted. Now Meat Shield rejects the damaged sword because he only fights with his fists. John Corsack doesn't need it either. The guy tests the Holy Sword himself and forces his body through one powerful swing. Then Bong is exhausted after testing the Holy Sword outside the tower. His physical abilities are limited in reality. He asks Jen Guangil whether that restriction can be removed. Jen confirms it can. But that restriction only vanishes if Earth's towers collapse and their boundaries disappear. Reality would merge with the tower. Lee Min-ah says that merger marks the apocalypse. Attention shifts elsewhere. Tomo welcomes the tower crisis as excellent news. The Japanese embassy counselor promises an unseen caller he'll handle everything. He warns that a typhoon is coming soon, revealing Japan's plan is already moving. And on the Black Tower's 28th floor, jungle trolls attack from enormous trees. John Corsack can't secure an S-clear alone. Bong deploys Meat Shield, whose powerful strike starts breaking through their defensive terrain. Meat Shield tears down the troll's huge tree. Enemies and falling projectiles tumble straight into John Corsack's path. John Corsack kills the exposed trolls with one sweeping strike and reports for duty. Even an R-rank summon can show SSR level strength. John Corsack asks whether everyone can fight safely without masks. The others dismiss his concern and keep moving. Bong's expanded summon party clears the 29th floor faster than the 28th. Adding another fighter sharply increases his hunting speed. So the faster hunt pays off right away. Bro clears Korea's Black Tower 29th floor at S rank and levels up. He collects 2 9 kilograms of mana stones and earns another platinum badge. So a masked player asks why an apology is necessary. Bong urgently calls for the summoner. Elsewhere, a woman pushes through strenuous weight training for the battles ahead. Meanwhile, higher floor monsters carry a dark aura that can corrupt and consume players during battle. There isn't a clear counter. An elite player trains until her body breaks and keeps forcing herself through the regimen. Now, another woman interrupts the training with alarming news. This guy curses Yu Chou-min as reporters declare South Korea's future bleak. The country's top player is now tied to a national crisis. Yu Chou-min announces that he's become a Japanese citizen. South Korea suddenly loses its rank 1 player, and Jun Guangil and Bong barely process the news before someone urgently interrupts them. But Lee Min-ah arrives while Jun Guangil explains the worldwide shortage. They can't find any light attribute equipment. Bong reveals he already owns a high-end light attribute sword, giving them exactly what they need. Then Lee Min-ah checks the sword's details and realizes how valuable it is. She grabs Dude. She demands to know how he obtained such an exceptional weapon. Bong mistakes Lee Min-ah's reaction for personal interest. He immediately imagines marrying her and living happily together. Lee Min-ah, however, only cares about the sword's extraordinary value. His romantic fantasy ends when the imagined Lee Min-ah questions the name Bong Holy Sword. Our hero snaps back to the actual discussion about the weapon. Then Jun Guangil lends Bong's Holy Sword to S-rank player Namgan. He wants a performance report to determine its commercial value. She enters Korea's Black Tower's 62nd floor with enhanced abilities. Her mission is to defeat 20 dark zombies within 15 hours. The counter starts at 0-20. Namgain faces the undead on Korea's 62nd floor. Even one enemy is dangerous because its dark energy corrupts players. She prepares to see whether Bong's Holy Sword can counter it. The undead attacks, and Namgain decides there's only one way to find out. She meets its dark energy with the Holy Sword. The weapon's first real high floor test begins. So the undead's dark energy still weighs down Namgain's body. The Holy Sword hasn't removed that pressure. She changes tactics. She drives her power into an upward strike. The dark zombie reels backward and she attacks again. Now her follow-up strike lands critically and tears through the dark zombie. Its scream confirms the Holy Sword can overcome the undead. Bloodied and stunned, Namgain realizes how effective the weapon is. Jun Guangil and Bong wait nervously until Namgain steps through the portal. Jun announces her return, but she walks straight over and hugs Bong. He freezes. And still caught in her arms, Bro briefly wonders whether her gratitude is personal, but Namgan is celebrating because the Holy Sword works against the undead. That confirmation makes Bong realize handing the Holy Sword to Yu Chou-min would have have been disastrous. The latest fight chips its blade, but Jun Guangil warns against selling it. Its long-term value is far greater. And Jun Guangil says other countries will eventually reach the 60th floors. They'll need the Holy Sword's light attribute. Our boy suddenly realizes he can rent it repeatedly instead of selling it once. Then Bong accepts immediately, because even 1,000,000 buys plenty of pork. News of the successful clear turns Namgaeun into Korea's new hope. Public attention starts moving away from Yu Chulmin. Later, Bong checks random summon. Bong finds the cooldown nearly finished. Only 0 days, 0 hours, 29 minutes, and 16 seconds remain. He prepares to activate it the moment it reaches 0. Once random summon is ready, Bro begs for an LSSR result. Meat Shield joins his ritual. Jun Guangil questions them, so Bong explains they're trying to improve his odds of drawing something powerful. So the guy finishes the chant and activates random summon. The result registers at an unusually high rank. His desperate preparation may have earned him another powerful summon. The summoning takes effect, and Bong completes the process. Gyandalair begins emerging with a solemn presence. Her arrival releases enough power to make Bong and Meat Shield brace themselves. Gyandalrae is clearly another exceptionally powerful summon. So Gyandalrae stays calm while the men around her panic, and they ask what to do because they already fear her unpredictable behavior. But Gyandalrae notices them staring and demands an explanation. She swings her curved blade and Dude recoils. Every new summon's first instinct is to kill him. She calmly prepares another magical attack, trapping Bong beside the summon he just called. The attack pulls this guy into an unfamiliar palace hall. He lands there disoriented and asks, "Where is this?" And before Bong can understand anything, he notices a blood-stained weapon nearby. Someone has been killed. A robed man faces the consequences as Death for Death reveals the motive. The vision reveals Gyandalrae's past and the grief driving her revenge. She vows blood for blood and performs Salgut, a forbidden death ritual. An elder oversees the ritual while the bound captives tremble. Then Bong learns Gyandalrae was the greatest shaman of her era. People believed the Empire's gods taught her. She unleashes the curse in fury, crushes every resistance, and completes her revenge. Then her revenge succeeds, but using Salgut for personal vengeance breaks nature's laws. The death curse turns against Gyandalrae and kills her young. Back in the present, Bro understands why her past made her so blunt. She confirms her connection to Gyanwon and later Baekje's founding, leaving Bong stunned. Gyandalrae accepts our hero as her master, and scolds everyone for making him prepare alone. Her sudden authority scares Bong. Once she mentions her curse magic, everyone becomes even more wary of her. Gyandalrae's strict hierarchy soon leaves Bong helping with the chores. Somehow the master ends up on dish duty. Before the argument continues, he enters Korea's Black Tower 30th floor. She keeps demanding proper respect for her master, despite Bong's nervous objections. Now Meat Shield vows to protect Bro and eliminate every enemy. The other summons prepare to fight. Their mission is to defeat 80 trolls of any type and 1 twin-head troll. So, Bong has 13 hours to kill 80 trolls and 1 twin-head troll. The first trolls emerge from the forest, the hunt begins. His summons activate their abilities and charge the trolls, with Meat Shield leading from the front. But as the fighting starts, an unexpected alert alarms our boy. So turns out, the signal means Bong's divine protection has activated. It repels hostile spirits, it summons a guardian who shields him during the battle, and the blessing hardens Meat Shield's skin until the troll's claws can't pierce it. The summons crush the remaining attackers. Meat Shield realizes how strong the protection is. Bong's summons scatter the last trolls before he can join them. Gyandalrae holds him back and orders him to leave the fighting to his subordinates. And well, Bong begs them to leave him 1 kill. Too late, the final troll falls, completing the 30th floor mission. Gyandalrae panics over Bong disappearing. She still refuses to let him fight. Her fear comes from a memory of revenge. A woman knowingly performs a death curse even though the ritual will also kill her. So Dude promises his followers that he won't put himself in danger. Still, he refuses their next request. One follower approaches covered in demon blood. The others drive him away from Bong. Now Bong's 30 platinum badges unlock another perk. A cooldown reset ticket enters his tower exclusive inventory. He quickly realizes it can reset a powerful items or skills waiting period. Elsewhere, television footage covers a player's raid on the 63rd floor. The broadcast confirms the divine attribute Holy Sword is crucial against the undead. Its successful use draws more attention to the weapon the guy secretly owns. At the same time, Japan's new ace watches. Officials promise an answer to Korea's growing advantage. Their words only feed his resentment. He curses Korea, he smashes the television. But the crash brings a Japanese official into the room. The ace dismisses the damage and asks why he's being disturbed. He says their agreement lets him take his time, and the official replies that Prime Minister Kawaguchi expects results. The official offers to replace the television and tells the ace to rest. Instead, he storms out furious at both countries. He also threatens whoever discovered the Holy Sword. Bong rewards his summons with several tubs of ice cream after their latest victory. He invites everyone to eat. They eagerly accept the treat, so Gyandalrae asks Bong for something Yu Chulmin once used. Bro refuses because Yu Chulmin represents Japan now, but she only wants to return his own karma, so Bong reconsiders. Then Gandal Z explains that Yu Chulmin's own deeds will decide his punishment. This guy agrees to help her, and with his permission, she starts invoking the karma curse. As Gandal Ray prepares the ritual beside Bong, John Corsac returns. He confirms that he's completed the task, and John Corsac brings back a remote Yu Chulmin once used. He traced Yu Chulmin's address through agency information. Kundaldari cuts her finger and drips blood onto the remote. She invokes the gods of heaven and earth, beginning the curse. So, the karma ritual sends its judgment through Yu Chulmin's remote. Gyandalei declares, as he has sown, so let him reap. She calls every deed he's committed back upon him. Now Gandalei commands the universe to weigh everything Yu Chulmin has done, and his karma may fill a mountain or run deeper than a river. The remote cracks as the curse finishes, confirming her judgment reaches him. Then with the curse confirmed, Gyandalei says they can leave. Light sins only bring minor trouble, and in Japan, a public event begins for its featured player. Heavy sins bring far greater misfortune, Gyandalei warns. Yu Chulmin knows nothing about the curse, and he walks on stage confidently as the crowd chants for him. Meanwhile, Japan promotes Yu Chulmin as Ryusan, and he gives a public interview. The interviewer thanks him, but Yu Chulmin confidently brushes it aside as the event starts. And Yu Chulmin announces that he's reached level 66. Japan presents him as ready for another tower raid. 5 hours later, he still believes he can deliver the clear Japan expects. Yu Chulmin enters the Black Tower's 57th floor in Japan. He must defeat 15 flame wyverns within 14 hours. Failure means death or forfeiting the mission. Flame wyverns are aerial predators ranked just below dragons. They can hunt ogres. Yu Chulmin has cleared this floor repeatedly and memorized its patterns. He senses them approaching. He prepares to fight. So Yu Chulmin reacts the moment the flame wyverns arrive. He launches a powerful opening strike. He makes rapid decisions to control the battle. So when one flame wyvern dives, Yu Chulmin fires as many arrows as possible. He can use every weapon. He plans to switch once it reaches melee range. Yu Chulmin switches to his sword and shield as planned. Fighting 2 flame wyverns strains even his mastery. He holds his ground and badly wounds one. Its screams carry across the 57th floor. And Yu Chulmin finishes the wounded flame wyvern. The kill is confirmed. The effort leaves him exhausted and crying out. More wyverns remain, so every costly attack drains the strength he'll need later. Yu Chulmin fires another energy arrow and pierces a second flame wyvern. The shot explodes, but the wounded creature survives and strikes back. But another flame wyvern dives and breathes fire, leaving Yu Chulmin no time to manage his cooldowns. He moves into close combat. He uses every ultimate skill and finishing move. Yu Chulmin bets everything on ending the fight immediately. Then Yu Chulmin unloads his remaining ultimate skills into the wounded flame wyvern. Both are left exhausted. He believes one more strike will secure a 4-hour record and restore his prestige in Japan. Yu Chulmin moves in for the final strike, but the flame wyvern breathes fire again. He withstands the attack until a sudden cracking sound interrupts the fight. Nearby eggs crack open. The creatures inside merge into one 3-headed enemy. Yu Chulmin has already spent his strongest attacks. He has no viable way to finish the raid. Then Yu Chulmin retreats and declares a forfeit instead of facing the new enemy. The system marks the 57th floor mission as failed and removes him from Japan's Black Tower. His planned comeback is finished. Dalrei's curse cashed out right on schedule. Bong watches the news confirm Yu Chulmin's failure on Japan's 57th floor. The promised victory becomes public humiliation as fraud accusations spread. Even the Japanese cabinet's approval rating collapses. Yu Chulmin breaks down in rage because the defeat wipes out his remaining prestige. Elsewhere, South Korea celebrates its 31st consecutive S-clear. John Corsac and Bong's other summons overwhelm every monster on the floor. So with Korea's victory confirmed, Bro leaves while international attention turns toward the Holy Sword. Foreign officials now focus on the hidden asset behind Korea's recent success. Now an aide at the US Department of Homeland Security reports a request concerning the Holy Sword. A player wants to rent and test the only divine attribute item discovered so far. There's still time before the 67th floor attempt. The tower operations director asks what arrangement they're proposing. The US officials take advantage of Japan's weakened position. Yu Chulmin's temporary naturalization delivers nothing, so an executive delays negotiations until the final moment. Public outrage also keeps Yu Chulmin from appearing outside in Japan. And elsewhere, Bong rewards his summons for their latest victory. Meat Shield treasures a 30 flavors monthly top 5 ice cream. He guards it like an S-rank relic. Our hero promises everyone something delicious later. They become even more determined to serve him. Bong refuses to share the sweet Crown ice cream, and Meat Shield and the others pull away in mock indignation. One finally asks Bong for a single serving, and Dude enters Korea's Black Tower 32nd floor. He must defeat 20 Phase 2 Minotaurs. Floors 31 through 35 share the same environment and monster type. However, the monsters keep growing larger. These Minotaurs already tower over the 3-meter Meat Shield. Those on floor 35 reach approximately 6 meters. Then a 4-meter Phase 2 Minotaur proves the warning wasn't exaggerated. Gyeongdalrae weakens it while Meat Shield starts clearing the perimeter. At the same time, John Corsac stays in reserve if the battle turns against them. His summons create an opening. Bong attacks one of the giant enemies himself. Our boy channels Flash Lightning through his weapon and strikes the Phase 2 Minotaur. The attack tears into it. He follows with another heavy blow. So the system records another S clear and awards Bong a platinum badge. His badge total advances. The next day, the Awakened Management Office receives the exceptional result. Bong returns from floor 32 with the S clear secured. Lee Min-ah confirms the challenge was difficult but successful. Jun Gwang-il proudly reviews the achievement inside the office. Lee Min-ah and Jun Gwang-il examine Bong's performance data. The numbers place the anonymous clearer far beyond other players. The office becomes more determined to identify and manage him before evening settles over the city. Meanwhile, Bong's group draws stairs across the city because Meat Shield towers over everyone. Bro assumes one passerby finds him scary. Turns out she calls him cute and asks for a cheerful photo. The group agrees. But Bong soon enters South Korea's Black Tower on floor 34. His mission is to defeat 20 Phase 4 Minotaurs. The guy raises his mace and shield against the first huge enemy. He intends to fight this time. So Bong agrees to kill just one Minotaur by himself. His summons accept that tiny contribution and prepare to launch him toward one. Bong immediately realizes their method could hurt, and the launch hurls Bro high over the battlefield. But he regains control. He dives toward the Minotaur. He brings his weapon down. Bong completes his promised attack, while his summons handle the remaining enemies. Bong's descending swing hits hard and sends a shockwave across the battlefield. The impact also throws him into a painful mid-air tumble. Then this guy recovers and activates a movement skill. The sudden burst sends him racing back toward the fight. Then Bong activates Shadow Walker. The skill accelerates him in an instant. He shoots back toward the battle at extreme speed. Bong carries that speed upward. Bong uses Shadow Walking across the air, and Meat Shield and John Corsac watch from below in disbelief. One companion asks why John Corsac never knew dude could do this. John Corsac calls Bong's aerial attack a scam. Bong responds by ambushing a horned beast and activating Chaos Lightning Staff, third form. Now our hero completes Lightning Flash and drives the charged attack through the monsters. The explosion carries his momentum forward, sending him into another airborne strike. Bong drives his weapon into the last Minotaur and finishes the floor. His companions praise the combat skills he suddenly pulled out. So the S clear rewards Bong with 3.4 kg of Mana Stone. He also receives a Rune of Summon grade up as a normal reward, not a perk. Bro checks the next notice while his summons expect another meal outside. And Bong insists he still has plenty of strength left, and after that exhausting clear, his sudden confidence worries his companion. And the Chinese Special Information Bureau still has no report of a 59th floor clear. A military officer demands an explanation. A seated official admits over half their forcibly naturalized players vanished inside the tower. When a soldier knows about the crisis, his superior questions the source. The soldier apologizes. The officer concludes that high-profile players are difficult to handle. So, the Chinese military chooses a quieter approach. Japan's public naturalization campaign ended in humiliation. An officer proposes secretly kidnapping valuable players instead, making China's failed recruitment far more dangerous. Then meanwhile, our boy refuses more ramen after eating it for 3 straight days. Even the tower's secret champion has a ramen limit. He's busy checking the summon catalog and discovers Meat Shield is unavailable. That means his tank might not be summonable anymore. Bong fears Meat Shield has been permanently destroyed or erased. He can't confirm anything before the conversation moves to a cafe after ramen. So the cafe patrons excitedly discuss Korea's latest heroine. One man objectifies her and says he wants to hold her hand. Another man rebukes him for disrespecting a national hero, and her public fame is growing fast. Meanwhile, the Awakened Management Office offers Bong Yu Chul-min's former penthouse for free. It's repayment for discounting the Holy Sword rental. Bro reacts so loudly that everyone in the cafe notices. John Corsac tells Bong to accept because the penthouse barely repays their master. The guy knows he can't reject something this valuable. Even so, the size of the reward alarms him. The penthouse is worth 20 billion won, and Bong's stunned reaction catches John Corsac's attention. Bong quickly says he's fine and hides his shock. His attention soon shifts to something suspicious near the office tell. But Bong and John Corsac notice several men watching nearby. Their scarred hands smell of blood and gunpowder, marking them as trained killers. Once they confirm the men carry guns, this clearly isn't ordinary surveillance. John Corsac figures the armed men have killed dozens of people. Their presence near Bong's office tell can't be a coincidence. He places tracking mark on 2 men, allowing him to follow them without starting trouble near Bong's home. Dude calls John Corsac back. The assassin hides his concern and rejoins him calmly. Elsewhere, Nam Ga-eun prepares for another tower battle. Korea's survival deadline depends on her clearing this floor, and Nam Ga-eun begins the assault and cuts down every fighter blocking her path. She can't afford to stop because Korea's survival deadline rests on this clear. Then Nam Ga-eun reaches the undead army and keeps swinging. Mummies, zombies, skeletons, and ghouls fall as she pushes forward. She's already cut through hundreds, but more enemies still stand between Korea and victory. After fighting through hundreds of undead, Namga-in prepares for the final battle. Her observers warned, "Victory is within your grasp. Be careful." She enters the tower and finds a huge skull-faced monster waiting. Then Namgaon faces the monster with Bong's holy sword and drives a powerful strike into it. She keeps attacking because killing this enemy brings Korea closer to survival. The fight leaves Namga-in exhausted, but she wins. Lee Min-ah watches the Black Tower confirm the 66th floor clear. Korea's deadline extends by 180 days. Now the Awakened Management Office celebrates and orders an immediate broadcast. The public names Namga-in Korea's new #1 hero for securing another 6 months. They also condemn Yoo Chun-min for defecting to Japan. So Namga-in's victory turns into a national celebration, complete with 66th floor commemorative sales. Public support seals her place as Korea's leading hero. She tells reporters her deepest gratitude belongs to the Holy Sword's anonymous owner. Bong helps Korea survive while keeping his identity hidden. Meanwhile, this guy attempts another summon because Meat Shield has vanished from his roster. He waits to see whether he'll pull an SR or SSR summon. The system chooses Meat Shield again, returning his devoted tank. The result catches Bong off guard. Strengthening has raised Meat Shield by 2 whole ranks to SSR, and his loyal tank is far stronger than before. And before the next battle, Gyundal Rei tests Meat Shield's loyalty. He recites the first principle: a summon must place the summoner's life above everything else. With Bong's safety as their top priority, Meat Shield and John Corsac face 2 horned monsters. Meat Shield insists on attacking first while Gyundal Rei prepares the summons. He kneels before Bong. He asks permission to lead. Meat Shield promises that protecting his summoner will always come first. Bro allows him to lead. The strengthened SSR tank charges the horned monsters. Meat Shield releases his power. Meat Shield wounds them with his opening attack. That 2-rank promotion has made him much stronger. And Bong realizes the strengthening changed more than Meat Shield's rank. His summon completes his combat transformation and grows roughly 4 or 5 meters tall. He's now nearly the same size as a minotaur. So Meat Shield puts that new size to work immediately. He launches himself straight at the charging monster. Their next clash begins. Meat Shield meets the horned monster head-on. Meat Shield crushes it with 1 powerful punch. His SSR strengthening makes the 34th floor effortless. Then after the fight, our hero admits Meat Shield can't be underestimated anymore. John Corsac complains that his own rune never raised him by 2 ranks. Kundal Rei rebukes him and says he should welcome anything that keeps Bong safer. Bong comforts John Corsac, but Gyundal Rei's repeated insults still worry him. She apologizes for upsetting Bro. She accepts any punishment. Bong asks both summons to settle their dispute instead. But John Corsac admits he went too far and promises more restraint. That ends the argument. Meat Shield returns to battle. Meat Shield grabs another horned monster. He braces himself as the creature launches a heavy attack. So the monster throws its full strength into the strike. Meat Shield takes it head on. Meat Shield overpowers the creature, leaving it stumbling backward. Meat Shield follows up. Meat Shield finishes the wounded monster. The system confirms that our boy has successfully completed the 34th floor mission. Meat Shield declares the mission too easy for an SSR summon. Bong welcomes the strengthening since his tank can clear this floor without any help. Then John Corsac prepares for another assignment while Bong stays behind. The masked assassin takes position outside, ready to act without exposing his summoner. John Corsac returns through Bong's window and insists he isn't jealous. He admits Meat Shield's promotion makes dude safer. The group settles down to eat and watch a live football match. An unregistered man begs to accompany Bong, but he isn't allowed inside. The guards drag him away while he struggles. Bong continues alone to the Awakened Management Office. And Jun Guangil sends a car to bring the guy into the Awakened Management Office. He confirms that Bong's 54 kg of mana stones sold for 27 million won. The payment is already deposited. Now Bong credits the profit to the Holy Sword loan. Jun Guangil becomes even more determined to secure him a house. He also reveals Gerald Watson will visit Korea in a few days. That creates another chance to loan out the Holy Sword. Jun Guangil explains that Gerald Watson wants to rent Bong's Holy Sword. Bro guesses the fee is 10 million won per use. Jun Guangil corrects him. It's $10 million. So Bong realizes every use could earn him about 13 billion won. Jun Guangil will stall the US negotiators since Korea still can't match that offer. But pushing too hard could ruin the deal. They might search for another Holy Sword instead. Back home, Bong compares the deal with his former 2 billion won salary. That old salary suddenly feels tiny. He celebrates and starts thinking about buying everything he wants. Not bad for a man once offered an organ removal payment plan. And this guy summons John Corsac again, who greets him with loyalty. Bong leaves him home to enjoy the match. Feeling more confident, he heads outside. So Bro checks the tracking marks he secretly placed on 2 suspicious men yesterday, and the marks have no physical form. Neither man notices them. They spend the entire day watching his office tell. Once Bong confirms they're targeting his home, John Corsack takes over the hunt. The surveillance of his master's home enrages him. He prepares to strike back. John Corsack follows Bong's tracking marks directly to the Watcher's hideout. He confirms the location and moves against the group targeting Bong's home. So the bald leader reviews elite team recruits who've reached at least the 30th floor. He checks a 32-year-old recruit who signed 3 months ago. After that, he studies the dossier on Bong, their 25-year-old target. Bong's dossier shows that the group plans to handle him violently. Before the bald leader can act, an alarm reports an intruder inside the facility. The armed men rush out to stop the breach. Now the bald leader realizes John Corsack reached them before they could target our hero. He swings a large blade, but John Corsack charges straight into it. John Corsack gets inside the strike and starts tearing through the group, and John Corsack shatters the bald leader's blade and cuts him down. The remaining guards sound the alarm and demand his identity. Still conscious, the bloody leader orders every gunman to fire, but the gunmen open fire. John Corsack dodges every shot. He drops one gunman. He explains that they targeted Bong. John Corsack tells them, "You touched someone you shouldn't have." The gunmen keep shooting, but John Corsack slips past every bullet. He attacks from above. He stabs another armed man. The others can't stop him in time. Then John Corsack cuts through the remaining men one after another. He leaves them wounded and unable to hold him back. One survivor calls him insane, but John Corsack keeps attacking because they targeted Dude. The survivors finally realize John Corsack is a player. Too late. Since they targeted Bong, he crushes their last resistance and incapacitates another man. Then John Corsack confronts the bald leader and speaks to him in Korean. He refuses to forgive the man's part in targeting Bong. John Corsack kills him with the blade and finishes his retaliation against the kidnap cell. So John Corsack places red ribbons on the severed victims and calmly leaves the bloody hideout. His signature confirms Bong's enemies are dead. It also links this massacre to the other killings surrounding our boy. Elsewhere, John Corsack worries that Bong will be angry about the massacre. Bro scolds him for killing humans again and orders him to leave. John Corsack kneels and begs Bong to reconsider. John Corsack stays with the group despite Bong's anger. He cheerfully admits enjoying the previous day's massacre. He also complains that Bong hasn't eaten the snacks he stocked. Meat Shield prepares to lead them through the final Minotaur floor. Now the group enters Korea's Black Tower 35th floor. They must kill 80 Minotaurs and 1 Minotaur King within 13 hours. Both counters begin at 080 and 01. Meat Shield declares he's going first and charges into battle. Meat Shield trades blows with the Minotaur King, while John Corsack cuts down the smaller Minotaurs. The guy stays protected. The mission count keeps climbing. Bong finally rushes an enemy with his dagger, insisting, "I can handle this too." A fast beast reaches him almost at once. He recoils before confirming even one kill, and the beast reaches Bro, but the clash becomes the final exchange with the Minotaur King. Bong lands the decisive slicing strike. Bong drops the boss. Korea's Black Tower 35th floor ends with an S rank, and guards seal off a massage parlor with police tape. A detective and forensic photographer enter the blood-soaked crime scene to investigate. The detectives identify themselves and inspect the blood-covered room. The case files confirm awakened management office personnel were targeted. Since the agency itself was attacked, the lead detective orders every executive into an emergency meeting. The female detective relays the order immediately. Then, meanwhile, Bong prepares another random summon with John Corsack and Meat Shield. They discuss getting holy water. They praying for better odds. This guy uses ordinary dispenser water for the ritual instead. So, the random pull works even with ordinary dispenser water. Bong receives Golden Aegis of Warm Dawn and Golden Mace of Cold Twilight. Both items enter his tower exclusive inventory. So Dude declares that both items have incredible effects. His summons decide prayer wouldn't have improved the dispenser water ritual. It might have produced something worse, and Meat Shield firmly agrees. So with the new equipment already considered the best result, the 3 summons face a harder question. Bong's limited roster means 1 summon must be replaced. John Corsack, Meat Shield, and Gyandal Ray have to decide who leaves. Meat Shield can absorb attacks and deal heavy damage, making him indispensable. Gyandal Ray also provides powerful support. That leaves John Corsack fearing he's the easiest to replace. Still, nobody can decide who should step down. Meat Shield says any useless summon should leave, letting Bong choose someone useful. John Corsack hates hearing that because everyone else's role is secure. After hesitating, he finally offers to leave the roster himself. But Bong panics. Meat Shield insists he never pushed John Corsack out. He says he stayed quiet. The others remind John Corsack that this was only hypothetical. Our hero hasn't decided to dismiss anyone. John Corsack still fears Bong will dismiss him. He breaks down. Bro scrambles to calm him because their harmless discussion has gone far enough. At the same time, Jun Guangil briefs the officials about the blood-soaked attack. He explains that this isn't a simple murder case. Investigators suspect a Chinese enemy's infiltration cell. The officials order a full search for its route and any survivors. And Bong enters the Black Tower with Meat Shield and John Corsack. He leaves the 36th floor entirely to them. Meat Shield crushes monsters with faster, stronger punches. John Corsack cuts down every enemy left standing. Then their one-sided assault clears the 36th floor with an S rank. Bong unlocks trait enhancement and eagerly keeps farming. John Corsack immediately hurls the next group of enemies aside. John Corsack and Bong's other summon tear through the remaining 39th floor monsters. Our boy never needs to fight. By the next day, the team is ready for the 40th floor. Then before entering the 40th floor, Bong detours through Gongju Traditional Market. The taxi ride unsettles him, so he stays wary. An armored man suddenly confronts him inside the market. At the National Park's tower entrance, Bro summons Meat Shield and Gondale. They're joining him for the 40th floor challenge. Meat Shield greets Bong as his master and confirms they've been waiting. Now Gondale makes Meat Shield carry all the luggage. That leaves Bong free to focus on the coming challenge. They climb toward the tower, and Gondale starts telling the guy something important. So Bong worries Gondale still resents his earlier complaints, but he trusts her ritual. As she begins, Dude, John Corsack, and Meat Shield pray for trait enhancement. So Bong enters the 40th floor with 13 hours to finish the mission. They must kill 80 ogre-type monsters. They one twin-head ogre. John Corsack and Meat Shield immediately kill the twin-head ogre before it can resist. With the strongest target dead, Bong turns to the trait enhancement roulette. The winning slot is needle thin. His summons scatter to avoid the pressure while this guy prepares to gamble. And Bong commits the roulette ticket, watching the marker creep toward his target. It lands successfully, and the system confirms awakened trait enhanced. Bro immediately pleads for a fourth summon. The roulette keeps spinning until Bong feels dizzy, and when it finally slows near the needle-thin target, he desperately begs it to land. So, the roulette lands on trait enhancement. Bong celebrates as the system confirms awakened trait enhanced. The stronger trait can now expand his summon roster. And meanwhile, a foreign challenger arrives at Incheon International Airport and promises payback. He plans to beat a 10-hour tower clear. Jun Guangil greets the delegation, which came to borrow Bong's valuable sword. So Jun Guangil escorts the delegation and completes the sword's transfer. Its handler gives one strict condition: they can't lose it. With Bong's sword secured, the foreign challenger prepares to enter the tower. Our hero dreams of a dreadlock swordsman unleashing a powerful sword strike. He jolts awake. He lies there dazed, trying to understand the battle he witnessed. Now Gyundalray warns Bong that greed can anger fate. Her ritual has already consumed much of his luck. Bro clears his mind. Bro waits. Finally, random summon activates and begins the summoning process. Random summon finishes, but Bong immediately senses that the power is weak. A hamster named Razix greets him. Bong needs a heavy hitter for the tower, so he dismisses Razix immediately. A hamster in a hard hat gets benched on sight. But Gyundalray says the failed summon has cleared away Bong's bad luck. She insists he still needs someone powerful. Our boy uses random summon again. A much stronger surge answers him. So the second summoning releases enough power to alarm everyone nearby. This one's different. The surge drags Bong into the summoned warrior's memories. He asks, so this is the Mad Demon's past. The vision takes Dude into a burning city from the Mad Demon's past. A defeated survivor kneels before the warrior responsible. The Mad Demon raises his spear over the destruction surrounding them. His memory ends with another killing strike after 7 straight days of battle, day and night. Back outside, the blood-soaked Mad Demon calls Bong's companions his subordinates. Meat Shield and the others freeze without introducing themselves. Then the Mad Demon warns that a tower's fall begins the end. No country can survive alone once every other nation is gone. Bong finally understands how much destruction could be coming. The Mad Demon mocks Bong for being afraid and starts boasting about himself. He invokes the third principle of his personal rules. That rule becomes his excuse for what he plans to do. Bong's summons move to protect him, but their resistance only angers the Mad Demon. He turns his bloodlust toward the group. The Mad Demon threatens to carve up one subordinate as a warning, and the Mad Demon demands to know whether the guy finally understands what he intends. Bong does. He decides this summon is too dangerous to keep. After the confrontation, the Mad Demon is removed from the active roster. Now Jan Guangil meets the visiting US delegation at Incheon International Airport. They've already rented Bong's sword twice without receiving a loyalty discount. This time they bring Jin good news. They seal another agreement with a handshake, and Jin says, see you soon. So Jun Guangil leaves Incheon International Airport confident about the sword deal. The US team plans to rent Bong's sword again for floor 67. Foreign demand keeps earning Bro more money. Then meanwhile, Meat Shield warns Bong to watch his step as Razix races around the house. Razix takes out trash, organizes the kitchen, sorts laundry, and starts the washer. Seeing how useful Razix is, Bong quickly runs off. He basically pulled a legendary house cleaning summon. This guy rushes out so fast that household items scatter behind him. He's heading straight into the tower to put Razix's skills to work. And floor 41 requires Bong to defeat 15 armored basilisks. This is where giant land beasts start appearing. Their gaze can petrify victims, but bro needs no protective items. He doesn't even avoid their eyes because he already has a strategy. So Bong summons Overpower an armored basilisk, but Razix disappears during the hunt. Bong starts searching because the basilisk floor remains dangerous. So Bong remembers why Labyrinth adventurers valued Razix. He isn't a fighter, but he's an elite worker. Razix can cook, clean, build, gather herbs, mine, tan leather, repair weapons, and carry equipment. Razix's old Labyrinth career ends when Apophis, a giant serpent boss, devours him. Back on floor 41, Bong's party binds the basilisks. During the fight, our hero loses sight of Razix again. So Bong panics because Razix stood beside him only seconds ago. A sudden disturbance pulls Dude across the battlefield. He arrives to rescue Razix, but the nearby danger is already gone. Razix's fate remains unclear. Razix returns safely. Razix apologizes for gathering only a small amount. Bong checks the hall. Bong finds medicinal herbs, basilisk leather, and valuable crystals. Razix wasn't fleeing the battle. He was gathering everything around it. So Bong confirms Razix gathered everything inside the tower. Razix also carried it outside without using system storage. Our boy watches the hall's value climb and realizes every tower run can earn him serious money. So Razix's hall activates Bong's earlier reward, letting him enter the tower twice daily. Bong values gathering over combat. Meat Shield must protect Razix and boost their profits. But bro calls their mission protecting his income, then quickly corrects it to escort duty, and the plan hits trouble when he finds Razix injured and bleeding beside Meat Shield. A reptilian monster bursts through the debris and charges at the injured Razix. Meat Shield intercepts it immediately, keeping the escort mission alive. So Meat Shield beats the monster down, catches a smaller lizard, and offers it to Razix as food. Razix is already injured. The gesture only makes him cry in fear. Razix scolds Meat Shield because the messy kill ruins the valuable hide. Bong prepares to attack, but Razix stops him too. His mace would damage the hide. His summons already handle the hunting. Bong still can't claim one kill. Then Meat Shield occupies the remaining monster, while John Corsac kills it with one precise strike. The body keeps its value. The guy attacks anyway, but his summons finish the fight before he contributes. So another precise strike drops the basilisk without damaging its body. Razix immediately starts harvesting the intact carcass for valuable materials. Meanwhile, concentrated energy attacks hammer the next armored basilisk. The creature takes heavy damage while Bong's efficient farming run keeps moving. The concentrated attack destroys the basilisk, and Bong can't even identify which skill caused it. The remains are damaged, but everyone still celebrates Razix's contribution to the successful run. Now the group keeps hunting until Razix collects a 7th basilisk hide. Bro explains that basilisk leather usually goes into exclusive armor. Even his combat boots use it. 7 complete basilisk hides, 1 scrap, medicinal herbs, and 50 kilograms of mana stones fill the hall. The mana stones alone are worth 25 million won. Razix totals everything. Razix says he can gather 10 times more. So Bong is thrilled with the profit. Bong brings everything to a secure materials warehouse. 2 officials help assess the hall, but something on Bong's phone suddenly stops him cold. Then Gerald Watson's involvement earns Bong an unexpected reward, and this guy immediately celebrates America. He announces that the family is moving into a luxury penthouse, and they remind him that he rejected large homes because cleaning takes too much work. Bong says automated cleaning solves that, and an unidentified older man briefly mocks the idea of conquering anything. His connection to Dude isn't clear. The next day, Bong reaches a building and his father eagerly calls him over, and he has something important to reveal. Bong wonders whether the luck and life talismans caused his family's sudden good fortune. Even his classmate can't explain the change and writes it off as extraordinary luck. But Bong's limousine pickup makes the classmate suspect he's receiving elite player privileges. Elsewhere, Jun Guangil and Lee Mina encounter a violent incident. Jun later confirms that our hero needs a large warehouse for his materials. Jun Guangil brings Bong to the Awakened Management Office's special materials warehouse. Bro needs enough room to unload everything gathered inside the tower. Before they enter, Jun warns that something inside may surprise him. So Bong starts retrieving the stored materials, but a huge crystalline creature comes out and attacks. Its strike smashes through the warehouse crates and knocks Bong backward. He can't tell what just happened. So the creature doesn't strike again because it's already dead. Our boy identifies the carcass as an armored basilisk. The warehouse is now holding one of the tower's rarest materials. Now Bong reveals 6 more armored basilisk hides and several unfamiliar tower herbs. 1 intact hide may exceed the office's entire monthly budget. Buying his full stockpile could be beyond its purchasing capacity. Jun Guangil hesitates when he sees how much Bro has stored, and Bong worries his asking price sounds greedy. Still, the materials are too valuable to ignore, and Jun agrees to arrange the sale. But Jun offers twice the standard rate for every herb, and he also plans to release the basilisk hides onto the civilian market. Bong has has gathered enough materials to supply a major commercial sale. Now the guy joins a tower briefing with Meat Shield and Razix. The instructor recognizes one attendee and praises Razix's enthusiasm. Floor 43 holds Ironjaw basilisks, while floor 44 holds Thornscale basilisks. The instructor calls the Rainbow Basilisk the key to this hunt. Bong keeps Razix motivated because his harvesting role is crucial. The next day, Dude prepares to chase the valuable target. And meanwhile, HG Fashion's CEO receives a joint project proposal from the Awaken Management Office. Her secretary says the office specifically requested HG Fashion's involvement. Bong's basilisk materials are heading toward the luxury market. Then the CEO keeps the proposal despite worrying about another unresolved matter. She admits that dismissing someone still bothers her. Elsewhere, Bong activates his power and charges into the next basilisk hunt. Bong slams his mace into the armored monster. The impact overwhelms it and clears his path toward the next target. Then this guy attacks the giant shark-shaped beast from above and follows with Scattered Lightning Soul Chaser. His lightning-charged sword strike wrecks the surrounding area. The system immediately reports the result. Bong realizes intact long-tail basilisk hides are worth more. He leaves the fighting to his summons and farms materials across floor 42. Between runs, he prepares food while everyone recovers. Now bro keeps entering floor 42 until Razix's bag holds 7 whole hides. That's its maximum capacity. The party kills all 15 long-tail basilisks and completes the mission. They receive 4.2 kg of mana stone. So after farming floor 42, Bong clears the Ironjaw basilisk on floor 43 and reaches floor 45. The mission demands 60 basilisks of any type and 1 rainbow basilisk. Bong plans to collect 2 valuable rainbow hides. So Meat Shield and the other summons quickly raise the kill count. Our hero waits for the rare target. Once they meet the requirement, the system announces that the Rainbow Basilisk has appeared. The Rainbow Basilisk catches one summon in its jaws. The others immediately pin its mouth and finish it off. Bong secures the first rare hide, and Razix breaks through another obstacle. Razix clears the path ahead. The remaining barrier shatters. They can keep hunting before the tower ejects them. John Corsack praises Razix while Bro skins the fallen target. They finish before the tower ejects them and secure 2 Rainbow Basilisk hides that day. The summons celebrate by chanting for Razix. Now Razix eagerly joins the celebration. Bong feels better after the hunt. With both valuable hides secured, he checks the new milestone perk and examines his reward. And the milestone grants Bong a special ticket for entering any nation's tower. He still can't enter above his highest cleared floor. John Corsack notices Bong's surprise and asks whether the ticket is valuable. So our boy fails another gacha pull and turns his frustration into a feast, and he offers John Corsack a drink. Lee Min-ah arrives at HG Fashion to represent Bong, and a company representative begins their scheduled meeting. Elsewhere, the meeting turns awkward when Ilsung Apparel's managing director arrives instead of the absent CEO. Lee Min-ah already resents getting this assignment simply because she was available. Another late attendee interrupts before she can leave. Then Dude immediately realizes the discussion is serious. Korea's recent international achievement depended completely on one person's support. The 2 visiting representatives admit they came for one specific reason. The representative offers to call his CEO, but Bong refuses to reconsider. Internal policy has already settled the matter, and the visitors grow tense, and Lee Min-ah realizes Bong controls the negotiation. But the guy says their demand for immediate, blunt feedback comes too suddenly. He reviews the proposal, he moves the discussion somewhere more suitable. Bong leads Lee Min-ah through a guarded facility toward a tower material warehouse. So Bro warns Lee Min-ah about the secured warehouse before the huge doors open. They enter the guarded storage area. Inside, Bong explains that specially treated frames preserve 3 complete basilisk hide types, and they include armored, iron jaw, and long-tail hides. He owns 36 hides in total, and 34 are stored here. HG Fashion wants to build its Wildflower brand around these rare basilisk hides. Further analysis confirms the material has exceptional quality. John Corsack watches as the commercial value of Bong's supply becomes clear. Then the analyzed material reacts suddenly and startles Bong, and its remarkable vitality makes HG Fashion even more interested. Since only its CEO attends, HG Fashion requests first refusal on every future hide sale. This guy quickly learns how profitable these materials are. Even seat cushion-sized leather scraps sell for 10 million won each, and a shopkeeper praises the huge quality difference and completes another favorable exchange. Bong leaves satisfied as his fortune keeps growing. HG Fashion's CEO decides Bro isn't an ordinary supplier. Her personal interest now matches the company's commercial interest. Bong soon moves into Ark Hill Apartments in Cheongdam, Seoul. Even the enormous front door reveals how luxurious his new home is. Now Bong and his household explore the huge penthouse. Even Meat Shield stops when they find 8 refrigerators and 11 bathrooms. Now the unfamiliar remote leaves everyone confused, and the wide view across Seoul stuns our hero, and his growing fortune has completely changed where and how he lives. Meat Shield watches Seoul with Bong and the others, then makes a serious vow. He'll protect Bong's world from destruction. Dude realizes his summons now consider this world their home. Then meanwhile, the movers pack everything and finish the entire relocation, and Bong can finally settle into the penthouse and quietly absorb his new life above Seoul. With everyone settled, Bong and his summons head up to the huge rooftop pool. They spend some time enjoying the penthouse's luxury facilities. And the piece ends when Meat Shield and the nobody grab the protesting doll Ray. They carry her over, they throw her into the pool. Right after she lands, one man starts struggling underwater as her retaliation begins. So her retaliation hits both men. They rush out towards separate bathrooms. Once they're gone, Del Rey admits she hasn't seen our boy recently. Another household member reacts when Bong unexpectedly returns. At the same time, Bro follows the system's instructions and places the device on the floor. Razix responds happily when it activates. Lee Min-ah approaches Bong with a message for him. Bong learns the basilisk hides still haven't sold, which catches him off guard. The proper facilities and tools aren't ready, so nobody can process them yet. John Corsack and the others question the delay, but they accept Bong's choice to wait. So Bong's next tower mission starts with a strict 15-hour time limit. Failure means death or forfeiture. His summons attack the giant scorpion. The first collision hides the result. Meat Shield pushes the scorpion back, while Gyundalray strengthens everyone with support buffs. The guy sees the enemy distracted and prepares to land a few attacks himself. Bong still can't secure a hit because Razix turns his attention toward nearby ore. Razix keeps striking the rock while everyone else holds off the scorpions. And on floor 46, Razix immediately catches a strong metal scent. Bro sends him toward the suspected deposit, while John Corsack urges him to dig faster. Bong wants every piece secured before they leave, but Razix fears they'll abandon him unless he fills his bag. He mines frantically as the clock runs down, and Bong sees how hard Razix is competing to stay and recognizes his value. Razix finally fills his pack. Meanwhile, classified UAE intelligence reaches the awakened management office. Jeong Gwangil learns an explosion killed Karim Zahid and about 10 other players above level 50. The UAE Black Tower deadline is still approaching. Then 10 days of repeated mining fill Bong's spare room with raw ore. The stockpile could bring him another fortune. Bong's arms start aching from handling it all, so his summons finish the remaining work. Meanwhile, Jun Gwangil drives this guy to inspect the mined material. He discusses the international crisis involving Japan and the Arab nations. Bong realizes how serious it is. Bong recalls Meat Shield protecting him during their tower runs. Then Dude and Jun Gwangil reach the guarded tower material warehouse. Bong learns how valuable resources are stored securely before inspection. The size of the facility leaves him stunned. So Bong offers the inspectors another batch of tower materials. They expect finished ingots. They mistake his raw material for ordinary rocks. After looking again, they ask to examine it more closely. Now, the closer inspection confirms it's an exceptionally rare dark crystal from the tower. The inspectors immediately ask whether our hero has more. Their urgency leaves him stunned by his stockpile's possible value. Meanwhile, the workers explain that players usually receive tower metals as finished ingots after clearing floors. That makes Bong's raw crystal haul extremely unusual. Back at the penthouse, John Corsack stays calm while everyone debates the ore's value. Now the debate becomes a wager over the final sale price. Everyone rejects the lower estimates and agrees on the terms. Bong's rare stockpile could bring him another huge fortune. So the group settles on a 1 billion won wager, but the penthouse is worth 20 billion won, pushing their estimate to 10 billion. The loser must take a full power flick. Bong returns before anyone delivers it. John Corsack rushes over and welcomes Bro home, asking when he arrived. The tense room quickly settles. John Corsack praises Bong for returning without anyone noticing. Now they confirm the latest ore sale earned 9,427,500,000 won. Their tower farming is bringing in a huge fortune, but John Corsack senses an unspecified threat if they wait. He breaks the group's rule and transforms. And Meat Shield angrily reminds John Corsack that transforming is forbidden. He grabs John Corsack, he throws him through a window. John Corsack crashes inside the building and ends up injured. John Corsack lies injured inside, but attention soon shifts beyond the penthouse. John Gwangil reports that the UAE wants temporary naturalization for a Korean AMO player. Crown Prince Bin Salah publicly begs the anonymous S record holder for mercy. The appeals continue for days, keeping pressure on Bong. So, our boy stays anonymous and returns to farming the tower. He gathers ore while clearing floors 47 through 49. Mechanical scorpions attack, but his summons destroy them while Bong stays out of the fight. The profitable climb continues. The world panics over him while he quietly farms rocks. Next milestone, trait enhancement. Current trait, 4 summons. Without upgrade, one must stay behind or cover the others. So his summons keep the giant scorpion occupied and force it backward. Bong remains safely behind cover while they handle the fight. The scene shifts to a modern skyscraper. So with the giant scorpion contained, Bong and his summons check their latest progress. One summon tearfully thanks everyone for helping her reach this point. The guy insists he won't show weakness over the perk or next summon. The system awards a new perk for collecting 50 platinum badges. Everyone shouts when they see the result.